All right, it's time to go into the rabbit hole of the second last Paranormal Activity film in the franchise so far. Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones, released by Paramount January 1st, 2014, produced by Steve Schneider, written and directed by Christopher Landon, who's basically written every sequel to Paranormal Activity. Um, he's also known for doing like Freaky and Happy Death Day to You, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, a few other films like that. So he's starting to build up a reputation and a name for himself. And I think Paranormal Activity, work with Blumhouse and stuff like that, kind of made him made a decent foundation. I think he's a decent filmmaker. Just some of the stuff is hit and miss. Yeah, it's had a budget of around $5 to $9 million. I think they went over budget when they filmed this, so it started off at five and slowly crept up, but who knows? And it made about $90.9 million at the box office. So this is one of the lower grossing ones, and I'm not surprised at that because this one is totally different than the others. So this Paranormal Activity, you follow an Hispanic male family. He's like a young, like 20-year old, I think, trying to like get out of like where he's at. He lives in like the rough end of like some California city, and yeah, it's your typical stereotyped Hispanic male Hispanics, but yeah, and there's this weird neighbor that lives below him in his apartment building who dies, and weird things start happening. So him and his friends decide to go check it out, and he catches something, and it's something odd. It looks like a bite mark, and he basically first develops like some sort of superpowers almost, and yeah, and as it goes on, it changes him from being a nice, lovable guy to an angry dude to something ridiculous. And it's up to him and his friends to try to help him and figure out what's going on. So, yeah, this is was pretty surprising to me. This film, it's very creepy in the first like half of the film. Was pretty well put together, I thought. Once it got to like the superhero like weird abilities and stuff like that, it definitely had quite the Chronicle feel. If you've seen that found footage film, it feels more like that, but then with a more darker tone to it. And yeah, they definitely try to change it up a bit, which is cool. But there is some big flaws that I gotta talk about in this film too. So about the film. So spoiler warning right now. Anyways, so as the film progresses, another thing I really loved is all the little tidbits of Easter eggs type stuff I think a lot of people miss when they watch this. Like, if you look closely to the news clippings that they're moving around and stuff, you'll see like the missing kid who is found in the fourth one, and like the news article on Katie and her boyfriend, who's now dead, and she's missing and stuff like that. And it's very interesting. And they sort of take the folklore that was explained at the end of Paranormal Activity 3 and expanded upon that. And this is more of their this. I think I might be getting this wrong, just warning you, but I think from my perspective of the film was that this is like the way the Hispanics sort of like saw how this would go, and you get like more. It's sort of like the caregiver in the first one, her almost like her type of family's beliefs and how they like to deal with these type of situations, which I thought was pretty interesting to do as a sequel. At first, I thought this was just a random movie that they threw together and slapped the Paranormal Activity name on. But if you look carefully, it ties pretty well together with the other ones. They even go out and talk to the daughter from the second one, and yeah, and then they get more information on it. And then they go to the grandparents' house of the third one. And that's where a lot of the craziness happens. This one does use a lot of CGI, though, which is, it definitely takes away from the realism aspect really quick. Like there's one part where he disappears and the guy appears like floating in the room and everything moves and explodes and stuff. And it was super cheap. It looked cool, but it was pretty ridiculous. And it had your cheesy, typical Paranormal Activity ending. which is okay, but it gets really repetitive and stuff like that. It's like the ending of the fourth one, but toned down to a few people, and it just they did closed it like a Blair Witch Project movie. The girl picks up the camera and just turns the camera off. I thought that was pretty interesting, but yeah, for the most part, I was pretty impressed with the second viewing of this film, my second time watching this, because I realized there's a lot of things I missed in the first round. And I actually really liked how they incorporated everything and put a lot of Easter eggs to link it together to the other ones, which I think a lot of people overlooked. And even like just thinking about like, oh, this could have been like the housekeeper's family or some relatives from them, her who experienced close to the same thing, which is actually quite interesting if you think about that, because the way the ending was shot, like it has sort of like a time travelist thing, which sort of leads into the next film. But yeah, it definitely like took away a lot, but it was interesting to see how they try to incorporate it like that and how to make this extra cool, dark, spiritual realm more prevalent with the other films and stuff. And I really enjoyed that. But like I said, most of the scares and everything like that were so over the top and dumb and unrealistic that it took away from it too. So, but it was still better than I was expecting it and what I remembered it by. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. It kind of blew me away. Hopefully the last one does too, like this. But we'll see how that goes. So, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 just because I loved how they incorporated the Easter eggs for the rest of the films and actually made it tie into the series pretty well. It's sort of like an offshoot, sort of like how the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has all these offshoots, sort of like sequels. It's sort of like that, where it's gone off in a weird direction, but they try to keep it grounded a bit into the series as much as possible, but try to give something new, which is good and bad because all the scares were ridiculous. So, 3 out of 5 from me for Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. And yeah. So, what did you think of this film? Have you seen it? Comment your opinions down below and tell me if you agreed or disagreed with what I think of it. I'd love to hear about it. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram where I post clips of films I'm going to review in the future, all my story, and I hide the title and hashtag just for fun. So if you want to guess or see what I'm reviewing in the future, make sure you follow me on Instagram and stay in the loop. Also, I put the subgenre of film in the video clip as well. So if something you don't like, you're aware of it. Just being nice that way. Make sure you like this video, share it so more people are aware of my channel, and maybe relive the Paranormal Activity franchise and maybe see this film in a new light. Who knows? And yeah, make sure if you have any other films or franchises you want to hear my opinions on, comment those down below too as well. I'll try to get my hardest to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. Also, make sure you subscribe so you hear what my opinions on the final Paranormal Activity film, and also all the other weird movies I'm probably going to talk about after. So make sure you subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and yeah, with that, I'll see you in the next review. Hopefully it's the last Paranormal Activity film we can close off this franchise. So with that, I'll see you in the next review. Cheers.